Hello and welcome to today's YouTube video. Today we're going over the third and final game of my tournament that I played on Monday, 3 days ago. And in this game I had black, so I got 2 blacks this tournament out of 3 games, which is unfortunate, but sometimes that's just how it is. Yeah, in this game I was against Dan. He's the tournament TD, good guy. He's I think he's not exactly 1900s, he's above 1900, but I couldn't remember his exact rating. Sometimes I just like estimate based off of what I read on the score sheet. Yeah, e4, c5, I play Sicilian, and I'm looking to play a accelerated dragon, but my opponent plays the Rossolimo, which is the one Sicilian that I am the worst at. So it's quite unfortunate for me that my opponent chose this opening, because I don't know anything about it essentially. The only line I do know is e5 lines, and I didn't really want to play that, so I went with the Naroditsky recommendation against the Rossolimo, which is g6. And typically people take here, and I take with the d pawn to get like a reverse Maroczy bind kind of structure, but my opponent just castled. I played bishop g7 and he played knight to c3, and I just played d6 and he took, and I took with the b pawn. I don't know anything about the structure, I don't know anything about the plans here, so I'm kind of out of theory, but Dan, he doesn't know much theory either, so I'm guessing we're both out of theory here at this point. And my opponent plays queen e2, and immediately I can play e5 and get a better position. But instead, I made a mistake with knight to f6, allowing e5. I put my knight on d5, supported by the c pawn, and my opponent just takes on d6. And I have to take back with my queen because my pawn is pinned. The computer just wants like some other stuff, like with counterplay, rather than capturing this pawn. And the reason for that is because of knight to e4. And notice there is no way for me to defend the pawn. Yeah, this is what happens when I don't know how to play the opening, and I play stuff that I'm just completely unfamiliar with. I'm essentially just down a pawn, and I play queen e6, pinning the knight at least at something, and my opponent plays rook e1, which stops f5, which would be kind of a weird blunder. It's not even a blunder because he can defend his queen with his knight, but yeah. So I castle. I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to be able to defend the pawn anyways, so I may as well get castled. My opponent plays e3, not taking the pawn yet, and I play a terrible move, bishop d4, trying to defend the pawn, but I think I was tilted here or something from losing the pawn. I was like, okay, let's defend the pawn, and I just didn't see c3 for some reason. I don't know why I didn't see it. It's so obvious of a move. So I just went back to g7, and he took on c5 finally. So I went queen g4 now. I'm not trading queens down a pawn. I'm not that crazy. Yeah, the moves I make in the near future are quite stupid. Here I actually made the move a4, but my opponent plays d4 here. Just remember that. So yeah, I didn't fix the notation. Oops. So just remember the pawn is on d4, supporting the knight. For future reference. So a4, I go bishop f5, which is an absolute terrible move, because h3, my queen essentially only has 1 square to go, and my opponent can very easily just win a piece. The best move here is queen h5, just like allowing this, but kind of weaken your king. It's not like absolutely terrible, but you're completely lost. But instead, I thought I found a nice move with knight to f4, counter attacking the queen. And if he takes my queen this way, then I have knight takes e2, rook takes, and bishop takes. That's what I thought, but he has rook takes here. But I thought I would take on f3, and he wouldn't be able to really feel the extra pawn. But yeah, I'm just down a piece here, so I completely miscalculated that. But it confused my opponent, and he took on f4. And I took with my queen, so notice now I'm not getting forked anymore, so I'm not going to be losing a piece at least. My opponent does play knight to e5 though, which is a good move, attacking the c pawn. Again, these moves are very hard to defend, but I play queen to g5. I need to set up something on the king, or else I'm just completely dead in this game. So he takes on c6, and I take on h3. It says it's a mistake, by the way, but it's not a mistake because remember, this knight's defended with d4. Just remember that. So bishop takes h3, and knight takes e7 check, and I go back to h8. And now he simply plays f3, defending the pawn with the queen here. Now, the best move here is queen takes c5 for obvious reasons, but remember the pawn is actually on d5. That's my bad. Sorry, I'm not fixing that. That's just how it is. Yeah. Without that move, I'm still slightly worse, but I'm a lot less worse than I was without this kingside attack. So that's very nice. So here I play rook to e8, which is the second move. So it's the top move if this knight's defended. So I did play the top move here, so it's not a miss. And my opponent played king to h8. Now, there's a very common tactical theme here that I think is quite instructive. There's a theme called overloading in chess, and essentially when a piece is defending more than it can handle. So in this position, I have rook takes e7, brilliancy. But you're like, dude, that's not brilliant. You just blundered an entire rook. After queen takes, rook takes, you're just down rook, bro. But the queen cannot take, because if queen takes, then I have mate in 1. So he has to either move his queen or do something else. He chooses to block with the knight. Top move is actually just rook takes, which I think is funny. But I do queen to f4 check. My idea was after g3, I would just go back to h6 and have like maybe some discovered check or something. Maybe bishop f5, I don't know. But he just takes my piece on h3, and I play f5, abusing this pin on the queen, and I want to win my piece back. And my opponent here plays queen to d2. And again, here is another common tactical theme. Yeah, you kind of have to know about removing the defender here, and also it adds a defender to your queen. So if you combine those two tactics together, then you come upon rook takes e4. Brilliant move again. 2 brilliant moves with the same rook. That rook is definitely having a good day. So after queen takes, rook takes, you may notice I'm up a piece. My opponent does have 2 pawns for the piece though, so it's not absolutely terrible. And notice how the pawn on d4 is actually like restricting my bishop. So it's kind of hard to prove the extra piece advantage here, in my opinion. So yeah, my opponent goes king g3, trying to trap my rook, and I play at g5, obviously supporting my rook. After bishop h6, I thought he had simply rook to h1. So I don't know what was thinking there. Obviously I have bishop g5 there, but I'm complicating things for no reason when I could just play g5. My opponent plays rook to e7, getting on my 7th rank. Very strong move in my opinion, probably his best idea. And I try and get my rook out with rook to h4 and rook to h6. My opponent doubles up and I play king g8, or else I'm going to lose my piece. Notice how he's threatening check, rook takes, check, and now I have to block with my bishop on f8 to get an escape square for my king. So I played king g8 here, which calls an inaccuracy, but I don't really care. And my opponent plays rook b7. And yeah, I play a6 here, and the reason why is because he's going to double up on the 7th rank, and I don't want him to be able to take this pawn after bishop to f8. The reason I went to f8 is because I don't want to deal with any checks later on here with my back rank, so I just went to f8. The computer likes this, but I don't really care. And he goes rook to f7, and I give a check first, and then I go back to h6, getting my rook back in the game finally. Also defends the a-pawn, which is kind of nice. My opponent plays b4 here. This isn't a mistake in my opinion. He had d4 here, remember, and he didn't have a4. So his pawns are actually on these squares right now. So yeah, again, my bad. And in this position, I play a rook c8. Yeah, rook h1, I guess, is probably good. But in this position, my move actually proved very good because my opponent played rook c7, and there's actually a tactic in this position, believe it or not. You have rook c6, and this is X-ray defense, and basically there's no way to defend the pawn anymore. Notice how his pawns are actually on these squares, so this is actually a backwards pawn. There's no way to push and defend it. There's no way to bring the rook over and defend it. So yeah, this pawn is indefensible. He plays a rook a7, not trading pair of rooks because that would prove pretty fatal for him. And I did a rook takes c3, rook to h7, and I gave a check first, which is actually wrong because I could set up a mating net with rook to c1. Yeah, that would have been a bit high level, which would have been very good for me. I should have done that for sure. But yeah, I give a check first, and then I played a rook to. I did not play that move. It did not happen. I probably took the pawn. I don't actually remember at this point. My notation ends here. But yeah, I went on to draw this. We ended up trading off all our pawns and a pair of rooks. So in the end, it was rook and king versus rook and bishop. And let me see if I can get this on the board. Sorry for the yeah. Hold on a minute. Set up position. If I just take everything off the board, king, rook, king, bishop, rook. Yeah, this is a draw. I am pretty sure. Once the computer loads, Stockfish 16 is a bit slower to load. I'm in the beta, so if you are in the beta, you get Stockfish 16, which is, I believe, slightly better than Stockfish 15. Not by much, though, in my opinion. No, not in my opinion. I don't know anything, but from what I've heard, yeah, this is a draw. So yeah, we ended up drawing. Not much to explain there. I definitely had better opportunities in this game, but I did come back from an absolutely terrible position. So overall, not an absolutely garbage game, but yeah, definitely not my best and not my opponent's best by far. We played better games in the past. Yeah, the accuracies definitely reflect that. They were pretty terrible. My opponent had an accuracy of 63.4, and I had an accuracy of 65.4, which is quite low for these tournament games. They are 30-minute with 5-minute delay. Not 5 minute, 5-second delay. Oh yeah, the estimated ratings are so low. White had an estimated rating of 1400, and I had an estimated rating of 1500. So yeah, it was a pretty garbage game. We played pretty terribly, and yeah, nothing to explain there. But yeah, don't forget to leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you in tomorrow's video.